Hey, how are you doing? My name is Rob. In this video, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about taxes. A lot of people are behind on their taxes. They're struggling and trying to make ends meet. And what I wanted to share in this video is one or two concrete ideas and ways that can really help you, one, avoid the tax auction altogether. But one of these are workable ideas that hopefully you can take back with you and see if something will stick and really help you in getting your taxes caught up, if not for all the taxes that you owe, or at least 1 year, to see if that would help. So I hope that you listen to the entire video and that one or two concepts would actually make it to home and take it to heart. Okay? Thank you. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is that, having the taxes situation is not your fault. There's so many thousands of people right now that are behind in taxes. COVID didn't help any. Some people have kind of lost their jobs and things of that nature, downsizing. A lot of those things are just outside of your control. So from the years that I have been involved in kind of helping people in real estate matters and taxes and foreclosures, things like that, I'm just hoping that there's a couple of ideas in here that would benefit you. And the first thing I like to say is that, there are companies that are like with Jacksonville Tax Care, or, you got stimulus packages, things like that, that yes, you can apply for it. Yes, maybe, you'll be able to get some of the funds, maybe even win the lottery, but that's really not something to count on. It's hard to just say, hey, here's the date that I'm going to expect to get this, and it's reliable, because just these organizations, they're pretty much behind, and there's just a long queue of people that need help. So I hate to just make promises and say, okay, you can really bank on this organization or that organization who's able to give funds, or some form of charity, things like that. So there's really three areas to focus on, I feel, that people have been able to get out of their tax situation and really get caught up. Okay, so one thing I wanted to share is initially look at what is within your own control, right? Individual. Thinking I'm responsible, and what is it that I can do within my power? Well, from talking to folks and seeing how others have overcome things, there are things to think about, such as, and I apologize if some of these are obvious and you've already encountered it, or they sound silly, and forgive me for that, because it may be obvious to you, and if you've already explored it, great. If not, maybe it'll be helpful. But number one is look at, well, I'm sure you've already thought about this. What are some different accounts, retirement accounts, that you may have been not touching or tapping into? Things of that nature, savings, cookie jars or whatever. I mean, there's savings that you put aside that maybe this is the point where you tap into it. I'm sure you thought about that, but I thought I'd make that point, right? Also within your control is what is within your saving capability. For example, there's obviously what are in the savings accounts, obviously for money, but there's also things that you can cut, things that you can sell that are of monetary value that can help in covering a lot of these taxes. For example, people have cut expenses like cable costs, some forms of entertainment, eating less. People, for example, have taken advantage of some of these food pantries that have been available every week or month and scattered across town. You might have seen that online. Even Jacksonville Tax Care has sent out some links perhaps about this, is being able to save what you can, whether it's from food or entertainment. I've known a couple, bless their heart, who actually sacrificed a year of their cell phone, and that was $300, $400, $500 that went towards a good chunk of 1 year's taxes. Okay, it's a sacrifice, but something to think about. Between losing your home or not having a smartphone in your hand, something like that. Anyway, what are some things to possibly sell? Some people have had things that they haven't used in their attic, or it could be jewelry, some furniture. There's lots of places online that are buy, sell, trade groups that you'd be surprised at what people are looking for and what they'll pay for what you have overlooked over the years in your own home. So again, we're on point number one, which is what's within your own control, right? Saving as much as you can in different areas of entertainment, eating out less, things like that. Selling some of the things that you don't need anymore, and living on less, minimalizing your lifestyle a bit. So these are ways that you're building up towards catching up on your taxes, right? Extra income. Again, this is what are things that you can do. I'm sure you've already looked at, different W-2 or job type opportunities, and there's only so much of that, right? A lot of people are looking for jobs and employment, and there's a whole process for that. And, you may not want to just start a new job, even if you had the skills. I'm talking about also earning capability. There are people that, let's say, were able to do some babysitting or selling things. There's commission-based type structures. There are people who have actually looked into the notary business, which is highly lucrative. Also, another thing that's been very, very lucrative for some people, in fact, it really, some of them paid off a whole year or a good chunk of the year of taxes, is by selling their unused test strips. If you happen to be diabetic or know people who are diabetic, there's these empty boxes of unused test strips that you can get quite a bunch of money, depending on the brand and things of that nature. But we have contacts of people who buy these test strips, and that cash can help supplement a lot of those kind of back taxes. So just wanted to keep that in mind, is there's different businesses that can be started that can bring in some income like that. Okay, we're still at point number one. And another thing to look into within your own power is the real estate that you have. Not everybody has the benefit of maybe having another property, but if you don't, and you can't monetize that other property in terms of a rental or Airbnb, what about your own home? Renting out a room. People have rented out rooms through Airbnb, things of that nature, even renting out their own home. The people have been looking for vacations for a night or two at a time, and maybe during that time you're staying with a family member while you rent out the entire house to folks that want a vacation here, and you'd be surprised at what people are looking for out there with Airbnb. So again, this is thinking in terms of what can I use and what resources do I have, whether it's my own resources in terms of making money or the resources that I have in my house that I can start earning some income with that. So these are questions to ask yourself. So that's number one, is what is within your own power. And now let's talk about number two, which is looking at people outside of yourself, external help, right? So first of all, within your own sphere of influence and the people that you know, it's obviously tapping into friends and family, right? In terms of getting loans of that nature. Right now, people are really having some tough times, so I understand the challenges there. Not everybody has excess cash. But again, questions to ask, right, is if you can get a personal loan from someone that you know, getting outside help, right? Part number two, whether it's people you know and then people that you don't know. This is where I wanted to share with you. There are resources out there that are dealing with people, not banks, not financial institutions, because those will go through all sorts of hoops to make you apply. They check for credit, they need collateral, and it's almost impossible to get loans nowadays, especially for paying taxes, for sure. So, I'm sure you've looked into like refinancing your home. So if you can't even get the refinance for a home, how are you going to get a new loan, right? So I'm not talking about institutions. I'm talking about individuals, people like you and me, who are willing to loan you some money, and they'll charge an interest, and they'll probably need to know that they'll get paid back, but charge lend you some money where you can use that towards like paying taxes. And I'm going to give you two sites right now, so please write this down. One is the lendingclub.com and the other one is prosper.com, prosper.com, and I'm going to have the links in the video here. And these are a couple of sites that are dealing with individuals. They're person-to-person type of loans, and what you can do is that submit a request. People have submitted requests that they needed help for expanding a room of their house. Maybe they needed help with an artificial limb. You get my point? Help with a wedding, help with, funeral, whatever. You're dealing with people here, and you're kind of submitting a request. Each person has their own criteria on what they will want to verify that they'll get paid back, whether it's like checking your credit. Some may not. They may want to have some collateral, like based on a property, based on some kind of jewelry. They need some way of knowing that they're going to get paid back, and that's something that you work out with them, right? So that's something to look into, is that those couple of sites. Being in the real estate space and a huge network of people over the years, I also know of some people that may do private loans that are secured by the property. Now, these aren't banks, so we're not able to give loans if you're not a bank, right? But these lenders are able to work out a way through an attorney, and this is all going through an attorney in order to provide a loan, and is protected by the house. I do have some more details about that if you wish to explore it. If so, give me a contact back about these specific kind of loans that's based on an interest rate, but it's attached to the property, and you're still the owner of the house. You're still living in the house. It's just that the lender has to have some protection of some sort, and the house has to be some way of collateralizing on that. And how that is set up can be described when you give us a call, and we can go into more details on that and what the attorney will need and things of that nature. But at least this is a way to cover those taxes and not have it just get lost and you end up with nothing at the auction, right? So I just covered two different ways to look at it, right? Number one was what's within your own control. Number two is how can you tap into some other people for getting that help in terms of loans. And then the third thing I wanted to cover, and again, this is trying to avoid getting to the point where you're going to lose everything at the bank, right? Or at the auction, because that's the worst case scenario, is that you just end up with nothing. And we don't want that to happen. Number three, I just wanted to point out that the problem here is that what has put you into this current situation is really no fault of your own. You can look back and, think back and say, oh, this could have changed, that could have changed. I get that. But, at this point, it doesn't matter what happened with COVID, what the government does, who's in office. That's none of our fault. It's just we're all in the same boat here, right? Really, the challenge here, these taxes are just beyond your budget at this point, correct? This house is the problem, that it just costs too much. Even if we do point number one, point number two, you save money, you make some extra money, you cover the taxes for this year and the previous year, great. Even if you do that, well, there's also the next year's taxes and the year after that and the year after that. Is that within your budget? If this is going to be a continuous race on trying to get caught up, that's not the situation to be in, right? Because it's going to be a constant battle against really the problem, which is the property itself. The property may be too much for your budget right now. So something else that we've had people do is a lot of times they were in a property that at times were neglected, right? Deferred maintenance, and that's also not a way to live. What if something goes wrong with the roof or the AC? That's going to blow their budget completely completely out of proportion. So what has happened, they were willing to downsize maybe to a better, smaller place that had less maintenance, and they were actually happier and they were able to afford that one much better and afford those taxes. So for example, we had Jim and Mary, that we work with, and it took them a hard time to actually sell their home and buy a smaller one. But you know, when they did that, they moved into like a really nice RV. Taxes were way lower, much newer, and they were really happy in this place that was right for them, and they were able to afford everything. That's an example. Or even a condo that has less maintenance involved and things are taken care of because of condos. Yes, there's a condo fee, but they were able to sell their home and then move into a smaller, more affordable, newer property. That's on a one-on-one basis on how much your house is worth and what another property that you're willing to move into and where the location is. That's something to be discussed. That's something that you can also, I can help you with as well. If you want to look into that, I've been in the real estate business for 17 years. So, and I've helped with a lot of people in these situations. And so you can give me a call and, you know, we can explore that. Even if you were to look at how to get the most out of your property, most people are just looking at a cash sale, right? Well, however, there's other ways that you can sell your house, actually get the most out of the property. And that is through owner financing or kind of getting payments over time. You get a chunk of money now and then monthly income coming in like Social Security or an annuity. And that has come a long way too in helping you get the most out of your property. So these kind of different creative options and suggestions, those are things that if you're ready for that kind of discussion, I'll be happy to sit down with you and kind of go through what are some different options there and help you with that, because I've been in the real estate business for 17 years and we can certainly look into that if that's what you like. But my point here is that we can look at all these different ways to get caught up. Is the property is really the challenge here, that, you know, we can have this property fix the problem as well. Let the property pay off the taxes, move you into a better place, more affordable place, and so put you in a better position. So anyway, these are 3 different ideas. I just hope that 1 or 2 or 3 of them are actionable steps that I firmly believe that 1 or 2 of them or a combination of them really can help you get out of this situation. If you really dig down deep in some form or fashion, I'd love to talk with you further. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody has different needs. Everybody's real estate is different. Everybody owns different things. So I'll be happy to meet with you. There's a link at the bottom. My phone number's at the bottom. If you'd like to give me a call, and you know, we can schedule a consultation and, you know, hope that I can be of assistance. All right. Thank you so much, and God bless.